first thing I'm going to do before dropping the gas tank to get to the fuel pump is disconnect the two filler hose and vent hose mounted at the gas tank. This happens to be a 7mm socket. It's always a good practice to make sure your gas tank is as low on fuel as possible. So the vent hose seems like it wants to come off first. So just watch out for gas. It might just spray out. Okay. So this tool is a hose tool. It has a little hook on it so that you can try to get behind the rubber piece and loosen it up on the actual neck part. The problem is trying to get back there. There we go. So the mounting hardware for the gas tank straps is 15mm socket. I pre-soaked them, pretty rusty. Here we go. Before I go to the next strap, I'd like to add that I have lucky enough to have a gas tank transmission stand with a gas tank bracket on it, so I'm supporting the gas tank. If not, you can use a piece of wood low to the ground with a floor jack. Just make sure you have the gas tank supported. Now this one was a little frozen, so brought a pry bar in to help me out. There we go. The gas tank a little looseness, so I'm going to lower the lift, the jack stand I have on it, just so I can manipulate these gas tank strapping on the other side. Let's bring it down as far as we need to. Don't forget the shield. Might want to get this out of your way now. I'm going to lower this gas tank a little more. So here's the electrical connector to the actual fuel pump module and the fuel supply line from the module to the injectors. Right here is the lock tab. It's pretty much filled with sand and dirt, so you've got to try to pry it open to unlock it like that. Get it to unlock as much as possible. And there it is. We can easily remove our protective shield from the exhaust. Now we have a clear shot at everything. I'm going to disconnect the vent right here on the top of the gas tank. Make sure that gets out of the way. I'm going to see if I can tilt my gas tank towards me. Like I said, this thing's almost empty. So I can get a better feel. Now I can really see my fuel line. And that's perfect for me. I'm going to squeeze in those two tabs, get them to unlock, and then hopefully it'll pull this fuel line right out. Now I can just lower this gas tank all the way down. So I want to clean all this debris, dirt and mud, sand, all the bugs. I don't want it to go into this gas tank, so I'm just going to loosen it up with a pry bar or a screwdriver. Then I'm going to get my vacuum and clean it up. So this outside ring is what's going to turn completely off. And this tool grabs the little eyelets here all the way around with the forks and just put a ratchet on there and hopefully loosen it up. I did use some spray to see if I can get it down in those plastic threads to help this along. Now before we take this retainer ring completely off, try to keep note of where the hose connector is and the electrical connector. If you need to, mark it with a crayon, take a picture of it, but if you mount this with this facing this way, the connector's not going to reach and the line's facing the wrong way. So it will move while you're taking this ring off. So if it moves on you, you'll know where to install the new one. Nice. Trying not to get any gas. Now when you lift this module up, it's got a big white bucket in it. It's filled with gas. So do your best to lift it and see if you can get it to pour right back in. The thing that's going to cause the worst headache is the level sensor, because that's going to be at an angle. Now I'm going to do my best to not make too much of a mess. Now that the pump's out of the way, the module, I'm going to clean the rest of this up the best I can. So now we're going to prepare the new module, fuel pump, to go in. Get your new gasket. You got to take this off of the float level. Now this installs this way. So I'm going to grab my module. Now, it does supply you with a little arrow, and there happens to be 2 lines on the gas tank. So that gives you a pre-calculation of where they would like that to line up. So that arrow lines up with those 2 lines. Now this is the part that, believe it or not, because it's spring-loaded, can be the most difficult, because you've got to get that seal to go down in and pass everything, like that, and then push it down. I'm going to take the ring and I'm going to spray it with penetrating spray on the threads. I'm going to take a clean rag. I'm going to clean those threads. I want 0 debris in there. Believe it or not, starting these is probably one of the worst things, part of it, because it's plastic, so it can get cross-threaded very easily. Okay, looking good. So now I'm going to get that tool and finish it up. So before you discard the old fuel pump module, make sure you take this fuel line clip off and just use a little flathead screwdriver. Just bend that tab up and push it over that, and then do the same on the other side. So now I'm just going to use a little parts clean that up before I reassemble it. So now that it's clean, this is where it goes, right inside that fuel line. Just line it up, push it until it clicks. Now I'm going to hold the gas tank strapping out of the way, and I'm going to try to jack this up. Then I'm going to slide this strapping underneath the gas tank while I'm raising it. Past the drive shaft, I'm going to slide this shield back in. It should stay in place. And I'm going to jack it up. So now I've got this up at a proper level that I'm going to connect my hoses. So fuel line, I'm going to take that protector cover off, snap this on, make sure you hear the click, give it a tug, bent line, make sure it goes on all the way, and the electrical connector, I got to go up a little bit higher. You can spin your connector, put it in until it locks, and then push that red tab over. Now it just comes down to just giving it a nice handling and moving it around, putting this strap up past the differential. This one too. I'm just going to snug this one. Leave it loose enough so I can work with it. Now we're going to see if we can get this one started. Now I'm just going to tighten up the back one, and all we got left is to put the hoses on the filler neck. All we got to do is connect the hoses now. The clamps are on there. Line it up. Make sure it goes flush with the tank. And the same with the vent hose. Nice and flush. Just making sure they're tight. Yep. Okay, good to go.